All right, welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency. We got so much to get to today. Lots of preview stuff going on. We're going to preview the Rays and Guardians series coming up between two good friends and two organizations that are very, very similar, Tito Francona and Kevin Cash. We're going to preview the Bucs and Falcons, which is kind of an interesting game this week, although when you look at the numbers, it doesn't look like an interesting game whatsoever. I was just on Atlanta radio this morning with Steak and Drew on 92.9 The Game, and they're very, the Falcons are 5 points away from being 4-0. How about that? That's mind-boggling, honestly. I thought the Falcons were a 2-win team. They've already got 2 wins. And here they come into Tampa Bay with a chance to take over first place in the NFC South. What a crazy, crazy league this is. So we'll be getting into Falcons and Buccaneers, two NFC South rivals. And these games are always pretty good, at least up there in Atlanta are. Usually down here, sometimes they can get a little out of control. But we'll see what's going to happen this week. We'll also be chatting with Scott Carter at 11 o'clock this morning from FloridaGators.com as the Gators get to take on a Missouri team that was just so close from having the biggest upset of this college football season and almost beating #1 Georgia. So a big week for the Florida Gators as they're coming off a rout of Eastern Washington, need to get back in the win column in the SEC, which I guess they're 0-2, right? Good morning to Nick Geddes from Outsider.com. How are you, my friend?
It's been an interesting morning.
Yes, you got the Selman Crosstown jinx this morning.
The Selman Crosstown jinx. It almost feels like this is an every other day.
It's real.
It's a real thing. If any of you have to get to work using the Selman, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's been a bit of an interesting morning, but we're here. We're still at 2 hours of sports talk, and I'm excited.
Partying.
Are 5 days away from Lightning opening night.
That's right.
So we're going to be getting
preseason game on Saturday.
So yeah, exactly. So we're going to be getting into that soon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a great time.
Yeah, we got James Petraca from Fox Sports coming up at 10:30. Scott Carter, 11 o'clock, Florida Gators, and Sandra Golden will join us at 11:30 from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. One of my Patriots up there, longtime friend, always entertaining to talk with Sandra. We'll talk some Braves baseball and some Falcons as well. Braves-Rays World Series. Who you got?
A Braves-Rays World Series.
It's funny. We were talking a little bit in this morning in Atlanta. They're all up in arms about, are we going to pay Dansby Swanson? Or we're going to, with Liberty Media's got to spend more money. And I'm like, come on, really? You guys are bitching about what you're spending? Well, come on down to Tampa Bay here, brother. Are you kidding me? But it's interesting. They now, they sell out the stadium almost every game in Atlanta, and there's another 15,000 every. A little bit of a pass. They were playing like baseball during that time. Okay, the Braves are playing 7-12 baseball during that time. So there are chokes, and then there are incredible runs and performances. And I'm going to give it to the Braves before I knock the Mets.
I'm going to knock the Mets at all times. Okay. I'm always going to knock New York teams. But my point was that, did you ever go on just Twitter? It seems like everybody's a Braves fan on Twitter. It's like this. If you cover like college football, apparently, and you're in the South, you're a Braves fan.
You know why?
It's like this entire barrier in this region. Everybody's a Braves fan.
Well, and then look at their ages. Okay, if they're over, especially over 45 and 50, over 45, 50, that's pre-Marlins, pre-Rays, right? These are all of us that grew up. The first thing we watched from a sports standpoint was Braves baseball on the Superstation WTBS. Like being able to watch baseball games on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like anything outside of Saturday baseball, which is the only thing we ever got growing up, was like, oh, we can watch a cable. What's this cable TV thing we have here? The Superstation. We can watch Braves baseball. That's why we're all Braves fans.
My mom's a Braves. My mom's a Braves fan. She was born here and raised in Tampa.
The power of the Superstation and cable. Yeah. You had WGN in Chicago with the Cubs games. And Harry Carey, and they were terrible, and the Braves were terrible for a very long, long time. But that was they were the first Superstation. Ted Turner was the first one to realize, well, I got this baseball team. I can put that's a lot of content on cable. People can watch baseball every night, and so we did.
Yeah,
and continue to do.
In many ways, jealous of what the Braves have. In many ways.
God! But and this is the thing, having been in Atlanta and experienced that for 2 years. I literally announced on our show that morning, we were the first to announce that the Braves were moving to Cobb County. And it happened. I've told you the story. I've said it on the show many times, but it was literally like 6:30 in the morning. My producer was like, hey, the Braves are moving to Cobb County. And we're like, that's what. And he's like, no, really, they are. I got this. We just confirmed the story with the mayor's office. I'm like, what? It just came out of nowhere. There was not one peep about it anywhere. And they made the move. And, it has been a tremendous financial success for Cobb County and the Braves, especially. They've won a World Series because of their stadium. That is no hyperbole. It's money because the Braves had the money then to go out and pay they offered Freddie Freeman a lot of money, but pay all the other players that they're paying. And they are a shining example of what a new stadium closer to your fan base will bring you. You don't need any speculation. You don't need any pie in the sky. Oh, this hyperbole might happen. No, it happened in Atlanta. Similar size market. They're a little bit bigger, but not much. Just getting a state-of-the-art stadium, building an entertainment complex around it in an accessible place where your fans are. And poof, magically, you start selling out. There's 30,000 people in the ballpark, another 15,000 outside at the Battery. This is not rocket science. It's just not. And if it wasn't for one greedy owner, this would have been done a long time ago in Tampa Bay. We'd be in the stadium right now. And with an owner who's increased revenues of up to probably 40, 50, 60, 70% into the mid 350s, you would have to spend $150 million on payroll or everybody would lose their mind. Well, maybe not in this market, but anyway, there's the template. It's back in the day when Brian Auld wasn't trying to sell us the Sister City plan, I talked to him on the radio about this. This is the template. And he's like, yeah, the Rays been set in 2018 when they made their pitch in Ybor City. They've said it many times. Atlanta is the template. Ken Hagans has said that. And I don't want to get off on a stadium tangent, but again, it's easy to do. It's not hard. We've made it hard. Well, not we. Stu has made it hard. And that's where we are. So anyway, there's no new news on it, folks. I think a lot of it has to do with the lawsuit, the playoffs and whatnot. Hopefully when the season's over, which might be pretty soon, we can get back into trying to figure this thing out. So anyway, we do have baseball coming up.
Let's hope it's not done pretty soon.
What?
The Rays season. What are you giggling over there about?
You think this team's going to make a run to you?
I'm just not going to count them out right now at this moment in this series.
Oh, okay.
Wait, you don't think they can beat Cleveland?
Yeah, they can beat Cleveland.
And then you get in a situation where you play New York. Anything can happen. Anything can happen in a series against New York.
I'm ready for football and Lightning season.
You haven't been ready for baseball season since it began.
Boring team this year. Horribly boring. More BS from the owner. No stadium. I'm just soured. I'm soured. I really. It's even Harpin. I've always loved the team and Cash and the guys on the field, and I still do. And I'm going to root hard for them. And I can't. I can't wait to, get up and eat breakfast watching playoff baseball at noon on both days. It's like, yeah, let's get this series out of the way. Let them play at noon. Everybody will be, nobody at the West Coast will be subjected to it. So that's good. So you get the 2 noon slots. Great. Saturday at noon, I'll be watching baseball. No, I'll be watching college football. I'll be watching baseball, I guess. I don't know, but I'm just not excited about it. I'm soured. I don't want to be negative Nancy here. I'm just soured. I'm sorry.
I thought we talked about this. We were going to get you in the mood this week, and you're going to wear your Rays jersey tomorrow.
I'll do it. Day. I'll do it. Well, help me. You know what we need? We need a big dose of Rich Hollenberg's and what we need.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We need positivity, and we need Rich Hollenberg.
All right. We'll see if Rich can come on tomorrow. But, or Rich, if you're listening, if you want to, it's an SOS. Send up the bat signal for Rich Hollenberg to give us. I'm just down on the team. They've lost 5 in a row. They can't score. They're the worst offensive team to make the playoffs, maybe in the history of Major League Baseball. They're not exciting to watch. Brett Phillips is gone.
Oh, come on.
He at least he brought some life and some energy to the team. Now I watch these games and I don't even care. It's like,
did he bring wins?
Who are you rooting for? I mean, like
what do you mean who you're rooting for? We have the most talented player in the history of this franchise. You're rooting for him. The 3, you can make an argument that 3 of the most raw talented players in the history of the franchise are on this team.
The floor is yours. The floor is yours, Mr.
Wander
Pro Rays Baseball. Get me excited about this team for the postseason.
You have the great.
Here, let me get a sip of espresso right into my veins here.
Yeah, get it in your veins, get it going, get it coursing.
Okay.
The great Wander Franco.
Baseball gods come to me.
The great Wander Franco, who's going to be here for 11 years, contrary to what you think. He'll be here for 11 years.
It wasn't a good start on that.
The face of the franchise. Bling bling Wander Franco. Randy Arozarena, October Randy is here. It's October 6th. It's about time.
Is he coming off the top rope onto Yandy's shoulder? Do I get to see that move?
It's about time for Randy to heat up now. Yandy Diaz coming back from the shoulder injury, back in the leadoff spot. It's time for him to get going. Don't look now, but G-Man Choi has probably played his way back onto the playoff roster.
Oh, he had one good game.
He had a few good
meaningless
games.
Game.
7 for 17 to end his season. 7 for 17. You take that.
Dude, you got to be better than this. Come on. 7 for 17.
I haven't gotten to the pitching yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Shane McClanahan, the American League All-Star starter,
He's not been the same for 6 weeks.
You're making it hard for me.
Because you got nothing. You got nothing.
I'm telling you the keys to the Rays winning the series.
Poking holes.
Stop poking holes.
Well, all right. Make better arguments.
Shane McClanahan and
you
Tyler
Glasnow.
A
whole lot of toolbox. I get it.
Shane McClanahan and Tyler Glasnow and Drew Rasmussen, the Red Rocket, all 3 going to go back to back in Cleveland against an offense that I think is worse than the Rays offense, to be honest with you. I like the Rays' chances in this series. I think you need to be excited about it.
That was a very, very weak argument. The jury just won't even be out for more than 5 minutes to come back guilty. It's not. It's just not exciting. It's not exciting. They're going to, it's the matchup. The most exciting thing about this matchup is that the 2 managers really like each other. They're like best buddies. This is going to be like a Brady Bunch sitcom. It's just like, everybody loves each other. It's fun. And woo, there's no bad blood between the teams or the managers. It's the Guardians.
There'll be bad blood in the next series. There'll be bad blood in the next series.
Well, at least nobody will be offended. So we're good on that. So it's the Guardians against the Rays. Woo! I'm sorry. It's just not.
Okay. If the Rays go out there and beat the Guardians, whatever, they win the first 2 games. They win 2 games. Okay. And then you get the Yankees. Are you going to get in the mood? All right. Yeah. Are you going to get in the mood?
Yeah. Now we've won something.
It's just Cleveland. Is it Cleveland that's holding this back? Yeah. It's such a boring.
Yes.
Then say it's
too boring.
Cleveland.
It's too. Okay, it's 2 horribly boring teams. Horribly boring teams. Neither one of them can hit the ball. The only reason that Cleveland's in the postseason is because they come from a crappy division. And the only reason the Rays are in the postseason is because we expanded the playoffs. The Rays have lost 5 in a row. Cleveland has at least been hot, beating teams 3-2, with their bullpen. I'm sorry. There's nothing to light my
I
fire.
think-
Why
I
do you
think the
think Major
Rays-
League Baseball put all the games at noon?
Oh, well,
So because nobody's going to watch them.
Tampa, Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. My point is there's nothing to get me excited about this. And by the way, I don't see any huge marketing push from the Rays all over my TV. Exciting playoff baseball coming your way. No, of course not.
What do you mean? They're doing things. We read it off yesterday.
Oh, yeah. They're handing out the flag.
They got watch parties down in Tampa. They haven't done that before, in my
That's
knowledge.
true.
Okay, they're trying to. They've done better in the marketing department this year.
They have.
They've done a lot. They've done a lot better.
They've done better. They've gone from 0 to a 1.
Okay.
So good.
Okay.
Good on you. Good on you.
Okay. See,
Listen, I'm just keeping it real. I'm, who's with me out there? Are you excited about this playoff? Seriously.
Right here.
Have you circled
Jordan
it?
Gamillion is excited. They're going to pull lightning and limp into the playoffs and go on an epic deep run. Hey, Kevin Cash did say yesterday. He said he told his team.
What dispensary are you guys shopping at? Because I need to get some of the good stuff. Because clearly I'm not getting it.
You know what needs to happen today?
What?
I need you to go on like an Esoc Paredes rant. Because every time you go on one of these Paredes rants, he comes back the next day and has a great game.
I'll do that.
I'll
do it.
We need to get one of those. Think about it for the show. And you can give that rant later on.
You want to do it tomorrow or today? By the way, Nick wants to change the time of the show tomorrow so he can watch the game.
I mean, I think it's a great idea. 9 to 11 tomorrow. I think it's beneficial for everybody, listeners, for us.
Yeah.
9 to 11.
Yeah. Because then we can go down to Fergs and watch the game, or we could go to Sparkman Wharf for the
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
The noon watch party on Friday at Sparkman
The noon
Wharf.
time takes a little bit wind out of my sails for the watch party. I was anticipating a night game, and we're gonna go down there on a Friday night, and it's gonna be fun. Now it's a noon, and I'm like, am I gonna be able to see it on the screen?
Probably not.
Is my question.
100%. A baseball game in a sunshine on the water. Good luck with that.
No, but Jordan's got to listen. The Rays were blowing these games.
All right, Jordan, help me out here.
I'm convinced the Rays were blowing these last few games.
The tanking for Tito, of course.
Hey, Kevin Cash said it yesterday, kind of.
Yeah.
He said he's like you guys can stop sucking now. Like he said, that's the way he worded it. He's like, you guys can stop sucking now.
But I got news for you. This is breaking news here. Baseball is not that kind of game. You limp into the playoffs 95% of the time. You play like you've been playing. It's very hard to turn around, a bad lineup. It's like, oh, okay, we're not taking it anymore. We're going to start hitting now. Here we go. We're going to start taking it. No, it doesn't work that way. It takes a while to get going offensively. And by the way, they have been into their pitching, but they were still putting out the same lineup they put out every day. Were they not? I mean, Franco and Diaz didn't play one game. Okay, but for the most part, there was the same lineups. Did the hitters get any better? No, they didn't get any better. They were awful against a pretty pedestrian Boston pitching staff, by the way. So, I'm sorry. I'm just being realistic. Y'all can get goody and woohoo. I can't wait for my noontime playoff game, the Guardians against the Rays, Cleveland against Tampa Bay, two of the worst offensive teams in baseball, but they play good pitching and defense, and their bullpens are good. Woo, let's go watch the strikeouts. No, I'm sorry, especially on Saturday. I got college football to watch.
Oh, come on.
I'd rather you got college game day, and I got college football to watch.
The games you got to watch at noon on Saturday.
I don't be for Prairie View is going to be better than.
What are you watching? Michigan, Indiana. You're watching Tennessee, LSU, TCU.
Yeah,
Kansas?
Tennessee, LSU. Hell yeah, I'm watching
doing?
Tennessee, LSU.
Oh,
Damn right.
On.
Max Johnson.
Snooze fest.
Oh.
Max Johnson's not in that game.
100,000 people watching college football, an epic SEC matchup.
Playoff
yeah,
baseball.
That sucks compared to the Rays and the Guardians. Here we go. Let's see who's got the best bullpen. What? No. College football all day long. I'm sorry. You guys can rip me all you want.
I apologize.
You can rip me all you want. But you were the one that came up with the great stat. Last year, the Rays scored, 865 runs. This year, they scored 600. 600. My bad. I was off by a little bit. 200 runs less. It's just watching these. You admitted it. The last 2 weeks, you're like, I can't even. It's the pennant race where they go 2-10 on their way in and get this third wild card because we just created it out of thin air.
Well, listen,
I mean, I'm not getting all this false hope and pumped up for some boring ass team that's not going to do anything in the postseason because their owner doesn't spend squat and they can't get a stadium done. They hate the fans. Sorry.
I apologize on behalf of the show right now. This was not in the notes. This was not in the plan.
JP
you have gone rogue.
JP goes complete basement on the race.
You have gone completely off the rail. We're a day away from playoff baseball, and you have gone on a rant.
Is there anybody out there with me on this? Anybody else out there? I mean, with me that just doesn't give a rat's ass?
I'm not gonna lie. I had one of my friends. We're supposed to hang out tomorrow, and I said, "Oh, Rays play at noon," and he goes, "Oh, is there tickets?" And I said, "It's in Cleveland." And he didn't know that we were playing in Cleveland, and then he follows it up with, he's like, "To be honest, I'm really not that interested in right now."
And this is the saddest part about it. This is the saddest part about it. You can go into probably any sports bar tomorrow at noon, and you'll probably have to tell them to put on the Rays.
Well,
game.
I mean, it's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous though. I don't think it's the Rays' fault. I think it's just ridiculous.
I think it's that's when it comes to that part of the equation. But I do think it's the Rays' fault. I do think, and I'm not going to absolve them on any of this. This is because, like my rant a couple of weeks ago, when you don't market your product, when you don't invest in your product, when you're constantly downgrading your clientele, when you're constantly pissing off your customers. And while everybody else is investing in their product and bringing you superstars like Tom Brady and paying their superstars like Kucherov and Vasilevsky and running a first-class organization and putting the fans first and putting all the, and there's another organization, another restaurant down the road that just, the food's not bad, but you can't get to the damn place. It's in a horrible location. Every time you walk in, it's like the soup Nazi. No soup for you. No soup, no baseball for you, no stadium for you, no stadium. No, you gotta pay me money. Bah. That's the owner. Every time you walk in,
what does it have to do with tomorrow, though? There's nothing to do with the playoff series.
You don't get excited about the team. You don't get excited about it because of what I just mentioned. It's hard to get excited about it these days.
You mentioned that I've said that. it's been hard for me to watch the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been hard to watch.
The product sucks too. Lately, the food has sucked too. Because the food used to be pretty good. Now the food sucks as well.
Time out.
So, I mean, what's good about it? What's good about it? The food sucks now. The product is bad.
I don't want to.
The owner is bad.
I don't want to say these are pointless. These were pointless regular season games.
No soup for you.
I don't want to say these were pointless regular season games because they weren't, but they were kind of treading water there just to get to the postseason. They probably wanted the third spot. We talked about this. And it was football. There's big Buck games going on. It's a little hard to focus. There were a lot of people that just checked out, but everybody's back in now. I don't see anybody.
We need Dickie Vitale is what we need on the show tomorrow to get us. Hey, baby, JP, come on. It's your Rays, baby. It's your team. They're a AAA, awesome, whatever they are. I mean, they're fantastic.
What do you mean AAA? What AAA players are on the team? Your points aren't valid anymore.
We need Dick Vitale, and his enthusiasm that's the only thing. I don't even think Rich Hollenberg can take me out of this Rays doldrum. I need a Dick Vitale.
That's sad. I mean, come on, you talking about it like I mean, you don't like pitching. I appreciate good pitching, and tomorrow, I mean, it's McClanahan and Shane Bieber. I mean, a former Cy Young winner versus a guy who was on track to win the Cy Young before the second half of the season. I mean, that's a great pitching matchup for a playoff series. Just get it going. Glasnow, you mean tell me you don't enjoy watching Glasnow pitch? You don't enjoy watching McClanahan pitch?
McClanahan against Justin Bieber would be more entertaining.
Oh my God,
that's all I'm saying.
You're crazy.
All right, I'll tomorrow I'll wear my jersey and see if I can get into the Rays. But right now,
I know we're supposed to preview. Have we previewed the game? I really don't even know if we've even previewed the game. I'm doing my best here, but you keep stopping me at every track.
Okay, preview the game. I'll wait. So exciting. Ooh. Shane Bieber versus Shane McClanahan.
I'm just in a no-win situation right now. I'm in a no-win situation.
The battle of Shanes.
I need a shade right here. I need your mic off. I mean,
even their names. Ooh, Shanes. Shane versus Shane.
I don't understand. What happened to you overnight? Did
it's laughable. It's not. You have to manufacture some type of, two teams that shouldn't even be in baseball's postseason playing at noon on a Saturday. Ooh, nothing shouts playoff baseball like that. Just keeping it real, man.
I'm just saying.
I'm just keeping it
real. When the
real.
Then win this series and they get to play the Yankees,
then
you can get your night baseball games.
I'm not allowed on the bandwagon.
No, you're not actually. You can't get on. You can't get on. If you're not on with me, you can't get without me. It's the same to a Bucs fan.
Okay.
If you weren't with me with McCown and Freeman and Glennon, you can't be with me now.
Okay.
It's the same way I feel there.
I'm sorry, but I think the Rays deserve some responsibility for this.
For what?
They deserve for alienating their fan base.
Oh my! Do the players do that? I'm rooting for the players. The players, my team. I was a born and raised citizen here, and the Rays are my number one baby of all the teams here. I want to see them win more than the other two teams. It's just me, so bad, and I'm gonna be rooting my tail off.
Yeah, look, the players deserve the support. Absolutely. That's the only way you can get me in. The only way you can get me in is to play that card. They're underpaid. They're relatively speaking for baseball, not in human terms, not in real world terms. They're underpaid. They're scrappy. They're the team, that little engine that could. Let's go get them. But even that is like, for what? To make Stu more money? Baseball needs to take care of this problem. They need to take care of this problem and get this.
We can get to that. We can get to that in the offseason.
All right. Move on. Are we going to sell this shit show? Or
I've been trying to sell it. I'm looking at the comments here. Everybody agrees with me.
All right, put them up there. Put them up there.
My gosh.
We can all agree USF sucks, says Martinez. Yeah, all right. Well, we can get on that card. No doubt about that. What does Jordan Gamillion say? Does he get me I must admit, a 3-game series is about as gimmicky as the one-off single game. Do a 5-game series or 7 like a normal sport. Yeah, I didn't even throw that part in.
I mean, do you trust Rob Manfred to ever do anything right? Okay.
I mean, I like the new changes in baseball. I like the no shift. I like the I like the pitch clock. I like all that stuff. I think he's been bold enough to do that.
This guy irritates me, though. I was watching Get Up this morning.
I saw that.
You saw his little Get Up interview?
Yeah. Softball crap that Greeny's throwing out. Oh, well, what's the real record? Can we have a post 2005 and it asked, whatever about the Aaron Judge stuff? I mean, whatever. Everybody knows that's the real record, right? I'll give Greenberg that. Everybody knows that. And of course, the commissioner can't come out and have a backbone and say that. He's got to him and haw around it like, well, I think everybody's aware that post 2005 is a different situation and balls are different. And it's like, have a spine and just say, yeah, what Barry Bonds did to the record book was disgusting. And it's that's baseball is a hallowed sport that I'm the commissioner of, and numbers mean something in our sport. And he bastardized the entire thing, by the way, with his PEDs. Have a backbone and say it. But no, he can't do that. He's got some people, it's a very complicated conversation because why can't people just keep it real anymore? Why does everything have to be so washed? Because I guess when you have an opinion, everybody wants to cancel you. I guess that's why. But you're the commissioner of the game. Have a backbone.
Well, because he would say that'd be the wrong take anyway. Jeremy Lowe right here. Come on, JP. Where's your team spirit? I
am not a cheerleader. I am an objective observer. Objective observer of sporting events, and that's why you wonderful people come and listen to our show, because you're going to get real talk from me. I'm not going to be, we're the Rays station, so this is going to be such an exciting series, and they made the playoffs. They're such a great team, and the Rainbows, and maybe someday we'll have a stadium, but we love our owner because he's so nice to us and he gives us free boxes that we can go watch. So we're not going to say anything bad about the team. And it's, woo, is that what you want? Is that what you really want? No, that's not what you want. You want to keep it real. And so that's what we're doing.
Well,
here.
I have a fan hat and I have an objectivity hat.
Well, when you're, and we try to, and I try to distinguish when we're, taking off whatever hat. Right now, I'm having my objective.
And I'm in fan spirit.
Baseball.
I'm in fan spirit. I'm throwing out the numbers all out the window. I don't care. We're winning.
It's a nice contrast.
We're winning the World Series. We're taking down the Yankees. We're taking down the cheaters, and we're going to see the Braves or the Dodgers in the World Series. We're going all the way.
Yeah.
Just because we're just going all the way.
Well, listen, if that happens, you can dump on me every single day on this show. I deserve it. I 100% deserve it. And I'll get excited if they make a run. I ain't going to lie. I will get excited. The fan part of me will get excited if they make a run, because what are they doing? Okay, they playing good baseball? Are they hitting the ball? Are we seeing some offense? Are we seeing some great pitching? Good. Then that'll get me excited. The way they're playing right now is not getting me excited.
Well, I think you're going to see it. I'll call my shot right now. The Rays, somebody's going to hit a home run in the first inning off Bieber tomorrow, and we're going to get this started. We're going to get this started right away, and you're going to get into it.
Mark that on the tape.
Remember Yandy Diaz? He did it in the first inning against Oakland.
10:31.
Remember that?
All right, we got to get
2019. Remember when Yandy?
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Did you send James Petraca
Yes, I did.
the stream? Okay, so
Yes,
he's going to jump on. We're going to talk some football now. That was an epic first 30 minutes of.
Yeah,
it really was. It was
of everybody disagreeing with you. I'm just kidding. There's a couple people in here that are agreeing with you.
See, James is it Friday at noon? Wait, Friday at noon. I was talking about Saturday at noon. What did he say here? Friday at noon. Sorry. Also, I agree with JP, especially on Stu playing games with St. Pete and Tampa when he knows damn well the MLB wants stadium in Tampa. Why? Because Stu doesn't want to pay up. Exactly. 100% right. And it taints the way you feel about this. So, Clarence Timmons says off season starts Monday, move to Tampa. Off season probably starts Saturday night, but that's okay.
What's the matter with you?
I still love you anyway. Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate that. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side and we'll talk some football. Listen, I just be quite honest. Yes, I really, really hope that the Rays make a run. It would be fun for them to make this incredible, improbable run. It happens in baseball. We've seen it happen. That's the kind of game it is. So maybe the Rays have saved all their magic beans for the postseason. They certainly haven't done much of it in the regular season. So that's great. We got the magic beans. All right. Back in a second with James Petraca, Fox Sports. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, and also by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Insurance companies do not like to see you represented by Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves eats them alive. JeevesLawGroup.com. Back with James Petraca. We'll talk some football, Bucs, NFL. Stay with us. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing, constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports.
It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency. If you have an issue with your spouse or maybe an employee or maybe a missing person or a criminal matter that you need a private investigator, insurance fraud is something else they do very, very well at Emerging Investigation. Well, they find the insurance fraud. They don't actually commit insurance fraud. So let's be clear about that. But if you're an insurance agency or an attorney and you need a PI, they are the greatest folks to work with. Just give them a call over there. Rachel will answer the phone and they'll talk you through the whole situation, whatever you need, tell you how much it costs, what they, how they go about doing everything, and you'll get a nice, comfortable feel for what you need. And don't try to do these things yourself, folks. You'll get unreliable information. You might screw up your relationship by trying to do it yourself. So if you do have some questions, why not go to the professionals and let them do it? And get the information for life's most important questions. That's Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com. Please tell them JP sent you. All right, let's welcome in our good friend James Petraca from Fox Sports, covering the NFL, working his way around the league to different ports of call. And look at him. Look what we got here. James Petraca has got press passes up behind him. Wow, look at this. We are setting the scene. Now your head's covering most of them, but it's good. We're working on it.
I know. Well, no, you know, I know. There aren't that many. It's early in the season, so we'll keep adding to it.
Do you throw them all out? Have you not kept your press passes from over the years?
You know what? I've kept a few. It's right before the season. I usually go through and throw out the ones from the previous year.
No.
So
wow.
I keep a few of them. I keep like special ones, like, you know, when I did the Michigan playoff game last year, and a few other ones, things like that I keep. But
I keep them all. And I've got boxes.
I used
and
to
of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get a proper office where I can display all my stuff just to get it out of, because it's like, I walk into some of my friends' great offices and they have all these pictures and everything. And I have all these same things that were in my old office and now are just tucked away. So, when you get old like me, you want to kind of, look a little retrospective of your life and all the cool stuff you've done because you're so old, you forget half of it. So anyway, and my God, how many games do you think you've been to? Since you started at PR in the Bucs in early 80s? Now I'm dating you now, right?
80, 88. And I worked in Michigan in college. So between that and then NFL 16 games a year for 30 years, so or whatever that comes out to be. So and just other events, that I've gone to. I worked some other sports too, but just as a fan too. So
what's your do you have a favorite moment of a game that you've covered, or the biggest sporting event, most memorable for you?
There's two. One in the Lions playoff win in '91. I know we haven't won since, but I was working for the I was working for the team then. I was like my third year with the team, and the thing about that, obviously it was just a great, to win.
Yeah.
And, we went to the NFC Championship game, which is, that was great too, except, the outcome wasn't good. But the thing about that is, we really felt we were on the verge of building, we were going to be the team of the 90s.
Yeah.
We had great, we did, make 5 other playoff appearances after that.
Right.
We just couldn't get out of the first round.
Yeah. And I'm sorry for laughing, but that's the truth.
No, that's
franchises that have been so bad. I mean, and the Bucs were that way forever, until Tony Dungy came along, and it's still, so the Lions have won one playoff game.
Yeah.
In 1991. That was Barry Sanders. Who was the quarterback?
Eric Kramer.
Great Eric.
He played really well. That's been and it's ironic because the teams that we had in the 90s, we just didn't have good, consistent quarterback play. We were as good everywhere else as the Cowboys, the Packers, the Niners. The difference was a quarterback. Kramer played well for a while. Rodney Peete played well for a while. Scott Mitchell had some good moments, but we just didn't have consistent. The ironic thing is then they get Matthew Stafford, who was a very good quarterback, consistent over a long period of time, and the rest of the team around him wasn't.
Terrible. Yeah.
And that was Wayne Fonts, who who's our coach and lives in the area.
Yeah.
And I saw him not too long ago, and we were talking about that. And he said, if we had Matthew Stafford with those teams in the 90s, he said we'd have won a couple. And I think he's right. I think we probably would have. That was the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the NFL, man. It's so hard to win in this league, and we sit here and we bitch about the Bucs are 2-2. It's like we got Tom Brady. This team has a legitimate shot to go deep into the playoffs and win another Super Bowl. And when you look at the Falcons franchise, look at the Lions, look at the Jags, look at Cleveland. I mean, we could go on and on about just franchises that have just been so moribund for ages, and it can be really hard to win in this league. And so enjoy it while you can, right? Enjoy it while you can.
Yep, exactly.
You guys had the Falcons a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, we had them in Seattle.
All right. So tell us a little bit about what you learned in production meeting with Arthur Smith, their coach. And I mean, when I was doing some prep last night, I'm like, wow, this team is, it's kind of weird because they've come back late in games, but they're 5 points from being 4-0. They're 2-2. They've won 2 in a row. They're not a bad football team, and the Bucs are catching them at a good time because Cordell Patterson, who's been their main weapon, is out. But what did you learn about it?
I mean, Arthur Smith is impressive in the way he runs the team and with their offense. How he does things and using Cordell Patterson as a running back, and then how they use Kyle Pitts. I'm not sure how. I guess he didn't practice yesterday, so the health, but. They have some good players, and Mariota, he's doing what he needs to do, and the other running back, Algier, I think I mispronounced that, but he's really, really impressive too. So I think they're a bit of on that Saints game. They had the big lead, and then, but yeah, they could be 4. And I think they're a really good football team, and we had them last year, and I was impressed. With what Arthur Smith and how he was putting the team together and what his thought, how he was doing it. And, Mariota is limited. So that's going to be ultimately, I think, keeps them from being a really, really good team, but I think they're still a very good team.
Yeah. And Kyle Pitts has had a hamstring injury, so we don't know if he's going to be able to play this week. He didn't practice yesterday. I'm guessing he'll probably play, but they haven't really used him a lot anyway, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, the Seattle game they did. He caught a few more balls in that game, and maybe it was the scheme the Seahawks were playing left them open, different things. But But yeah, he's impressive too. The way his athleticism as a player. But if he doesn't play with Patterson out, I think that's going to really. And even if he does play, if he's not 100%, I think that does hurt the Falcons.
Yeah, this is a get-right game for the Buccaneers. You always talk about divisional matchups, and they can be tough no matter what, how bad the other team is. But you know what? If the Bucs are the team we think they are, they're coming off the week of where they were displaced, and now they're back, and they just got humbled. They got their ass kicked by the Chiefs. It was, they had that film session on Monday had to be brutal for a lot of guys, and it's going to test their mettle. And I think this is where championship teams bounce back and show exactly how good they are against I'm not going to say they're a horribly inferior opponent because they're 2-2, the Falcons, but they're missing some pieces. They're on the road. I expect the Buccaneers to be at their very best and to cover the 9.5-point spread, quite frankly. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I would agree because I know they're with after the Chiefs game, the loss, there's been some concern about the team, and I still think at the end the Bucs will be there, competing for the championship. But if they do stumble this week, then I think there's really cause for concern.
Big time. Yeah.
But I agree with you. I don't think they will. I think that they'll take care of this game the way we would expect them to, and then move forward.
Well, they need to. They need to. Mm-hmm. And this is something that this tests your mettle during the season. The teams that are just mediocre, they lose games like this. They're middling. They're mid, as you kids like to say, right? They're mid, and this is a chance for Brady especially. I would like to see Brady. He's going to have his full complement of receivers, including Julio, who is still limited, but he's going to play this week. Gage is going to play this week. Godwin is back. Evans, full complement of receivers. All right. The offensive line still, but go out there and put up 350 yards, 3-4 touchdowns through the air. Let the defense get back to being what they are. This is a game, but they should dominate. And if they don't, then there's going to be huge question marks for this team. So I'm there with you. All right. So this week you have who do you got this week?
Eagles at Cardinals.
All right. Okay. Well, let's talk about this Eagles team. What have you learned about them this week, and are they as good as people think they are?
I'm impressed. I think they are. Jalen Hurts is playing really well. Everything they've done, they're legitimate. I worked the playoff game last year against the Bucs, and coming out of that game, and Jaws was working with us, and talking. He lives in Philly and close to it, and he was saying it here yet, but they were good enough, and he thought Hurts was a little bit limited in terms of some of the throws he can make. He can't throw the 30-yard out. Not many guys can, but they know that. And but I've been really impressed. They're playing better than I thought they would coming into the season. I thought they'd be a good team. I didn't think they'd be as good as they are. And Hurts looks really, really good. He's been really impressive.
You got something there?
Yeah, I was going to point out, but did you on the going back to the Lions thing, you were on with Lions and Seahawks this past weekend, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah, because I heard Chris Meyer, so then I thought of you actually, because I was like, I think we're going to have Petraca on, and I was just thinking, I'm like, when you saw that game on the schedule and you're going to Detroit, did you have 48-45 on your mind at all? You're going to see maybe the most entertaining game of the weekend there.
I'll tell you, based on how I've seen the Lions defense play, and even the Seahawks defense, not 48-45. And by the way, that was the first time in the NFL history that there's been a 48-45 score.
Really?
A score going.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. But I thought it would be high scoring because the Lions defense does not play, and even the Seahawks defense. We had them against Atlanta, and their defense has given up some plays. Now they're transitioning their personnel, and their offense has been impressive. Geno Smith looks really good right now.
Geno Smith, my goodness.
48-45. I don't think I saw that, but part of it was like the Lions got behind. It was 14-0, early in the game, and so there was just a lot of, the Lions were taking chances on defense, and then their offense was, trying to score points, and they gave up some big plays. But it was a fun game, definitely a fun game.
I thought it would.
And I actually tried to help. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just before the game, we were talking to Pete Carroll on the field, and he was talking about Kenneth Walker, the rookie running back, and trying to get him in the game and get him flowing. And I said to him, I said, Coach, you got to get him a lot of touches. He's on my son's fantasy team. So I was trying to help my son's fantasy team too. So
I bet they
he
hear
laughed.
that.
He's like, yeah, I'll work on that.
Didn't Rashad Penny have like the best day of anybody out there?
Yeah, he gave a laugh and looked like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, Philadelphia team, I picked them to win the East from the very beginning. I think they're better than the Cowboys. And everybody talks about Jalen Hurts, but it's so much more than that. They are really good on both sides of the football. Defensively, I mean, their trenches on both sides are a winning edge and have been for a while. It's why they made the playoffs last year. And now they've added these skill position players and impactful players. Do they have the culture to win a championship? Do you sense that from the coaching staff and the leadership of that team? It might be maybe a year early for them.
I do. Yeah, that's what I would say. But I think they're building it the right way. Sirianni's he was impressive, as a coach and as, just talk as a person, how he's running the team and how, the culture, like you had mentioned. And they still have a good mix of some of the veterans, Kelsey and Goddard from the super leftover from the Super Bowl years. So I think they do. Like I said, you had said, I think they may be a year early, but who knows? They're playing, and in that division, I thought going in like you that they were the best team in that division. So that gives them, Washington's really struggling, and the Giants are, so that helps them a lot. This will be a big test because Arizona's kind of been up and down, but you have to go out. They're still a good team. You have to go out to the West Coast, which sometimes, teams from the East, struggle with that and playing on the road. So if they, how they play this week, I think it's still early, but I think that'll give a pretty good indication of, where they are moving forward.
All right. Before you go, you wanted to weigh in on our Gronk conversation we've been having. And I beat him up. I'm calling him selfish for, throwing keggers every night and not helping out his buddy Brady, who now he's going through a divorce. He doesn't have a tight end. Cam Brady's down, and he's just letting his boy just hang out there in the wind. But you kind of feel like he really doesn't have much choice, huh?
Yeah, I think physically he just can't. It maybe if anything, he couldn't go through a full season, because watching him at the end of last year, we had the Jets game. And then I was at the 2 playoff games, and at times it looked like he was running in sand. He just physically, the cuts, and so I just think he's just worn down. And I remember listening to him talk about how he felt when he retired, how he felt like after the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
he said he was just in so much pain he couldn't move, literally could not move. Yeah. And so I just think, and now. Could it later in the year where he wouldn't have to go through a full season, maybe play, 8, 9, 10 games, something like that? I think that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I just really think that he just physically just realizes that it just can't.
Well, maybe in October, late October, early November, we'll see him. Who knows?
And then, watch, he'll sign next week, so I'll look like a fool. But
all right, James, good stuff, my friend. We'll check in with you next week. Appreciate it.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys. Take care.
For Fox Sports. All right, we'll take a quick break and remind you that we're brought to you by Italiano Insurance. You can reach them at 813-877-7799. Even if you don't have an account with them, or you use them if you have questions about your insurance. 64% of you out there do not have enough insurance on your home. You are underinsured. So call them and make sure that you are properly insured. You don't want to find out, like so many in Southwest Florida, after the fact that you weren't properly insured. So call them at 813-877-7799. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk some more Buccaneers and NFL football. And at 11 o'clock, Scott Carter coming up with our Jeeves Law Group Gator Report. Stay with us.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, Using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure flood insurance. If your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or italianoinsurance.com.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Golden Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Golden Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Golden Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations in our first hour, emerginginv.com, and the Jeeves Law Group. Coming up in just a moment, the Jeeves Law Group Gator Report with Scott Carter as the Gators look forward to taking on Mizzou. A couple other notes on the NFL. We got a game tonight. We got the Colts and the Broncos. I never understood the whole Broncos are going to be a Super Bowl contender thing just because they got Russell Wilson. Although I love Russell Wilson and always have, and I think he's a tremendous talent. I think maybe his skills have eroded just a tad, but that Broncos roster was never that impressive to me anyway, especially on the offensive side. So I think that's and Nathaniel Hackett is completely unproven as a head coach and proven that he's probably shouldn't be a head coach at this point. So.
I told you that at the beginning of the year. I don't think.
Agreed.
I mean, I love Russell Wilson. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks that I've seen, and I'll always defend him because I think the hate for Russell Wilson gets a bit out of hand.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Like, is he corny? Yeah, damn right he's corny.
Yeah.
I get that, but he's not cool enough for the folks, I guess. I don't know.
A lot of people. Yeah.
But
all he does is win.
Yeah, literally. But anyway, I mean, this game tonight, it really is the battle of the two overhyped teams that everybody thinks were a Super Bowl. It's like funny how people thought Matt Ryan and the Colts are Super Bowl contenders because Matt Ryan went there.
I really thought the Colts would be way better. I really did.
I just didn't. No.
Because their defense. What happened to their defense? The defense was so good.
Shaquille Leonard hasn't really played much this season.
Yeah.
That's
a big deal.
You take him out of there. It's a lot different.
It's funny when teams like look at the Steelers, they lose
TJ Watt and they look ordinary.
Ordinary. I mean, you take one guy off a defense and it's amazing what a difference that makes.
The Bucs looked without Levante David last year for that stretch.
Yeah, not good.
Ordinary.
Yeah. I mean, there's just certain glue guys to certain defenses that really make them go. And that's why this is such a week-to-week league, because injuries matter. Injuries really freaking matter on a week-to-week league. You can take any team in this league and give me 3 guys. Let me take 3 guys out of any team in this league, and I'll cripple you. I will cripple your team where you're well below average. And that's what this league is all about, because it's so hard to get any depth, any quality depth. And then the coaching is so good. When they know you have an injury, they're going to just attack it relentlessly. So that's why this league is so freaking tough, and it's so week to week every week.
In this game in particular, though, it's like I feel like we've gotten the short end of the stick this season with a lot of these primetime games that have really been boring.
Yeah,
very boring. And I think this one has the chance to go down that route if they keep playing like they've been playing. And Indy's offense just very, very uninspiring at the moment. Matt Ryan I don't want to say he's cooked, but like this is not the Matt Ryan. I don't think Frank Reich is all that we've made him up to be either.
Mm-hmm.
I question his ability to get the best out of quarterbacks, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So there's trouble there. Denver's offense, we've been over their issues. Although I thought they found something in that Raiders game eventually when they started letting Russ kind of be Russ. And
yeah,
I don't want to use the whole cliche let Russ cook thing, but Denver now, no Javonte Williams, serious knee injury. He'll be out until next season.
Yeah, that's a crusher.
And Melvin Gordon, by the way, if you look at advanced stats, Melvin Gordon has been the worst running back in the NFL this season on the advanced stats of any running back that has as many carries as he does. So he looks like he's past it. And then those weapons outside of Cortland Sutton, I don't know who's getting open. So this has a chance to be another dirty one.
Yeah, I agree. Although, I'm trying to think of the primetime games. Even the Bucs primetime games have not been great.
No, the Bucs Cowboys, I think
last week was not.
It was a rout.
It was a rout.
The Rams Niners the other night was okay, but we got the worst of the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams offense. Boy, how bad is that? How bad is Matthew Stafford right now?
They're in trouble. Let me tell you, they are in trouble.
Big trouble.
And I don't think they can get out of it.
I don't even think OBJ can save them. And OBJ, by the way, is doing his
tours.
His tour,
and Von Miller said that the Bucs were on that tour.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And then last time I checked, somebody retired yesterday.
How do we not lead the show with that? Cole Beasley retiring as a Buccaneer. I think he's going to go into the Hall of Fame as a Buccaneer.
Hell of a highlight tape that guy's got in Tampa Bay. Damn.
Remember that time? Remember that time you caught the ball and fell right down? Remember?
And then remember you did it again?
Remember? And then you did it again and again, and then you decided to retire. Remember?
And then you took a shot at Brady kind of on your way out.
That was awesome.
You saw his
No, I didn't. What did he say?
Well, there was a conspiracy. He didn't really take a shot, but a lot of people were interpreting it because in his little statement that his agent put out, Cole recognizes that he wants to be a family man and spend time with it, and this is taking too much of. That's what he said. So a lot of people thought that was a little bit of coincidence there, maybe.
Oh my God! Did he really?
Yeah, his agent put that statement out.
But
no, there's an opening there, but I think, but if you're the Bucs, though, I think it comes down to because of it's really OBJ or Gronk at this point. One we know wants to play, one we don't know.
Well, Gronk, if we have our druthers, it'd be Gronk, no question about it.
Well, OBJ has been wanting to play with Tom Brady forever, and I think this is definitely his last opportunity to do it if he wants it.
Well, and on its face, it's like we have no room for you now. But come on.
Yes, we do.
Everybody will be injured next week.
Well, because we talk. I mean, Julio is as wild card as it gets at the moment.
Yeah.
Russell Gage, we went over it. We talked about it with Scott Reynolds the other day. He said he's playing like a $1 million receiver, not a $10 million. I mean, so how useful are those guys at the moment?
They're not. And OBJ coming off an ACL, we don't know how. And his whole deal is speed, and so if he's not 100%, he's not worth. What you can't have a 75% Odell. You can't. That's not worth. He's not a big guy.
But,
he's not. He's got to outrun people.
Well, he was
He
coming off the injury going into Los Angeles too, right? He had an ACL before.
Yeah.
And I remember Los Angeles offense last year, and this is just odd why they broke this up, but remember they had Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and OBJ, and you just could not cover it. And I'm just, I've been kind of against OBJ, but I'm kind of warming up to it a little bit. Because I'm looking at the NFC, and I still think it's for the taking.
Yeah.
You just mentioned the Rams. I think they're screwed because their offensive line stinks. There's nobody coming in to help you. Whitworth ain't coming through that door. Ain't happening. He's getting the Amazon money.
Yep.
And then their receiving core, it's like, it's Cooper Kupp, it's Tyler Higbee,
It's Cooper Kupp.
and then a lot being thrown to Skoranek.
Yeah.
That can't be happening.
Yeah.
So I think they're screwed.
And they're, as much as, we canonize Sean McVay for being this incredibly innovative offensive mind, when we want to crush Byron Leftwich, the bottom line is when you have these injuries and you don't have the tools, you're a very ordinary play caller because you just don't have the difference makers. You got to have different in order to be a great play caller and to be a good offensive coach. You still have to have great players that do certain things well. Like, clearly Cooper Kupp runs the best routes and has fantastic hands and can get contested catches. I can draw up all kinds of different plays for him. That's great. I have a Cooper Kupp. But after that, who's special? Who's special? Cam Akers looks slow. He's not special. Skoranek. Who else did they add?
It's Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson. Clearly not special.
Yeah.
So when you got guys that aren't special, what can you draw up? I mean, you could scheme up a couple of things here and there, but for the most part, they got nothing.
And the reason why, too, real quick before we move on, signing OBJ, you know what it does, too? It keeps them from going to Green Bay.
Right.
Because I think Green Bay, if there's ever a time for them to get a little out of their comfort zone and get some flash on that team, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think Green Bay is going to be there. But again, if OBJ decides, hey, do I want to go play in Green Bay?
Right.
Or do I want to go play in Tampa Bay? I don't think it's really a decision to be made there.
It's Green Bay. There's more opportunity.
Really?
Yes. Hell yes.
I think the pull that he has with Tom Brady is a little bit more than the pull he has with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but you come here.
I meant from a standpoint, if you're OBJ too, like, does he want to take his brand? Because I think he's a brand. Does he want to take that to Green Bay?
What are you talking? Because it's a small market. The Packers are a huge brand.
There's a lot of free agents that don't go to Green Bay. Free agents don't go to Green Bay.
It's a huge brand.
I'm comparing it there. Would you rather be in Green Bay or Tampa Bay?
I just think that, if you're OBJ, it's about getting opportunities and targets. And you come here, you're just one of many mouths to feed. You go there, you're the primary target right away. Like right away, you're WR1, right? You come here, you're at least 3 and probably 4.
He's not 4.
Yeah. If Julio comes back and
he's not better than OBJ.
It snows here in Tampa tomorrow, and he gets healthy. But even Russell Gage, Russell Gage has been here. He's been doing it, and he had 12 targets the other day. So
it's not OBJ.
I know he's not OBJ, but OBJ's coming in off an ACL and doesn't know the playbook.
He didn't know the playbook going in with the Rams last year, and it turned out fine. He came in midseason.
Well, I don't know. I don't think he's getting.
You've been taking a lot of L's on this show today.
You go. Why would you not want to go to the Packers where you're right away WR1? You're saying you're maybe a 3 here.
It's about playing with Tom Brady. That's something that he has been on the record of saying is the last thing on his bucket list, and this is the last opportunity for him to do so.
If it's his,
guys don't want to play with Aaron Rodgers.
If he's coming,
they don't. Yeah. Why do no elite receivers go sign up to go play with Aaron Rodgers? You ever asked yourself that question?
Because they don't want them. Because it doesn't matter to the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is so great. We'll pay him $50 million. They'll make everybody into Devontae Adams. That's kind of the way they think. All right, let's welcome in Scott Carter, our good friend from FloridaGators.com. It's our Jeeves Law Group Gator Report, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Check him out. Good morning, Scott Carter. How are you, sir?
Hey, doing well, guys. I know the Gators, they'll take OBJ.
They'll take any receiver at this point, will they not? Absolutely. Hey, listen, they got exactly what they needed last week, like a little Sunday off run through the park. Everybody gets a taste of the end zone. What did we accomplish last week against Eastern Washington?
Yeah, I just think it was a big thing for them to go out and get a win, JP, after that loss at Tennessee to drop them to 0-2 in the SEC because, now they got this stretch where it's really going to largely determine what kind of season they have in their first year under Billy Napier. They've got 6 in a row against the SEC starting on Saturday against Missouri. So going out and, doing what they were supposed to do. They got a lot of players in the game. 81 guys played. And, Napier this week was talking about that. It gets overlooked a lot of times from fans because, hey, they're supposed to go out and win that game. But when you are able to get that many players some reps, they get different guys on tape they can evaluate. But it's also good for camaraderie in the locker room. It makes those guys feel more more being involved with the team, and it helps in a lot of ways that maybe don't show up in the stats sheet.
Yeah. So here comes Missouri, fresh off almost beating the number 1 team in Georgia. They're 2-3 right now. But typically when teams have the almost win, the almost program making win, you see a regression the next week. And I know Florida's hoping for that. Or do you think Missouri gets a ton of confidence out of this and they go and play really, really well? Let's just be honest with them. We need to talk about this. There's some history between these two teams, some recent history, some weird Darth Vader stuff going on. So what type of just kind of characterize this game and the storylines around it here as Missouri comes in for a noon kickoff at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium?
Yeah, really, JP. It's one of the oddest rivalries Florida has now. Since Missouri joined the SEC in 2012, I think a lot of Gator fans certainly thought, okay, they're going to fall in that category of the Kentuckys and Tennessees and Vanderbilts. Florida will be able to handle them most years, and it won't be a roadblock in any way. Yet they're 5-5 against the Tigers, and some of the games have been crazy. I always tell people that probably the weirdest Gator game I've ever covered was that 2014 game against Missouri. Homecoming, they're losing 42-0, and they've outgained Missouri, and they've dominated the game in a lot of ways. But Missouri scored on a kickoff return, a punt return, interception return, a fumble return. It was just a disastrous night. They lose the game 42-13, and yet they ended up holding Missouri to 119 yards. I think that kind of sums up this series. I mean, last year's loss out in Columbia, that's still Dan Mullen's fate. An overtime game. He was fired after that game. And there's been some blowouts on both sides. There's been very few like really well played, close games. And I think this one really matches that same formula because both of these teams are still trying to find their way in the SEC. They're both young to some degree. And, Florida is favored, I think, by 10 at home at noon. They should win this game. But, hey, man, I've seen it before. We'll just have to wait and see until 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon.
So here's a bizarre kind of stat. Missouri's defense has been great against the run, great on third downs, and they control games by owning the clock. They lead the SEC, and they're 5th in the nation in time of possession. Now, normally that's a kind of a crazy stat, especially now in the world of up-tempo offenses. But this was what makes Missouri 3 points away from beating Auburn or inches away from beating Auburn and almost beating Georgia. I mean, we'd be talking about a Mizzou team here with a little bit of luck. That's the surprise team of the SEC. So you can't take them lightly, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any of that, especially with what they did last week against Georgia. They're leading that game, 19-12 going into the fourth quarter. Their defense was very physical that whole game. They're playing at home against the number 1 ranked team. So I think when you look at Missouri, are they going to be able to come out at noon on the road and match that intensity against Florida? I mean, it seems like a big challenge to ask for, but they've got the players there, and they open a lot of eyes against Georgia. So, Billy Napier certainly is aware of what they can do. He's familiar with Eli Drinkwitz from their days competing in the Sun Belt. So he's got a little bit of a blueprint for what he likes to do as a coach. And, they also have a player over there on that defense, Tyrone Hopper, who he would love to have at Florida. He was a Gator last year, decided to transfer, and now really he's one of the top defensive players in the SEC, and he's a difference maker on the field for that Tigers defense.
I don't think we got a chance to talk to you after the Tennessee game. And, I thought Florida, for the most part, answered the challenge there and kept it very close. I mean, it kind of went down to the last play, if you want to look at it that way. Anthony Richardson, it seemed like there might have been a shift in maybe the philosophy of Billy Napier. We're going to let Anthony be Anthony. He's our best player. Let's let him just kind of take this over. What did you think of Anthony Richardson's performance in that game? And do you think that's kind of the blueprint of just let Anthony be Anthony here?
Yeah, I think you're right, Nick. I think that was the mentality going into that game. Those 2 games previously against Kentucky and USF, and he even said it himself. He lost confidence. He was worrying too much about what people thought, instead of just going out there and playing and letting his athleticism and skill take over. And you saw that at Tennessee. They played the kind of game that Napier said they felt they had to, because they knew they weren't going to shut down Hendon Hooker and the Vols on offense. So he had to play with them. He took a lot of gambles, went for fourth down, made 5 out of 6. Anthony throws for 453 yards. And as odd as it turned out, they did have a chance there deep in Tennessee's territory on the final play. Didn't work out for him, but I think it was a big confidence boost for Anthony that he carried over into the Eastern Washington game, had another solid outing. And really, that's what they're going to look for from him from here on out. They need him to go out there and make plays and not be tight in those situations when, not feel like everything rests on him. Trust your playmakers. And he's gotten some help there recently with, Justin Shorter and Ricky Pearsall in the passing game. So I think that Tennessee game was a good sign that we saw some of the benefits last week.
Yeah, I was going to mention Shorter and Pearsall. And to me, everything has been put on Anthony Richardson. And when they were struggling in the pass game, it's like, he doesn't get it, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what about the receivers? I mean, quarterbacks are only as good as their receivers, getting open, making contested catches, making, the easy catches. You got to catch the freaking ball sometimes. And everybody wants to put that on the quarterback. And I just had not seen any of these Florida receivers step up. And even though it's Eastern Washington, but, the Tennessee game also, you're doing it in a big-time atmosphere. That confidence just is immeasurable. And it's why when I watched them play against Tennessee, I was like, oh, okay. All right. Now this is legit. This is a legit offense. He can throw the football. He's not scared now to throw it into certain windows. And for quarterbacks, once you make those throws and know you can make them, the proverbial light comes on. And I think that's what we saw with Anthony. And I think this game is really going to test him in that way, because Missouri is a very disciplined defensive team. They're not going to give you anything. You got to earn it. And they'll lay in wait to make mistakes. So I'm very interested to see how Anthony plays in this game and the whole passing offense. Is that
good challenge? I think you're right, JP. I think offensively they discovered some of their identity in that Tennessee game, and that was important for them. I think Billy Napier was asked Wednesday night at his press conference, what's the identity of this team, and he says, "Hey man, that's still a work in progress." Right. A lot of that's over on the defensive side because they still have some issues there. They're still giving up some big chunk plays, and that's cost them at times this season. But I think, you can overcome some of those defenses' weaknesses if your offense is playing well and Anthony Richardson's going out there, protecting the ball and letting his guys make plays, relying on the running game. The offensive line's been excellent all year. They've only allowed 3 sacks, and really only one of those was a legitimate sack. So I think they've turned a corner there. But Missouri, as you mentioned, it's going to be another defensive challenge. I mean, I was very impressed with just the way that unit played against Georgia. And, I mean, it wasn't until late in that game that the Bulldogs finally discovered a few things that worked. And, I mean, if Missouri can duplicate that performance, it's going to be a tough day for the Gators on Saturday. And they're going to have to play turnover-free ball. And Anthony's probably going to have to make one of those plays that, only a few guys can make like him to come out of that with a win.
Yeah, and this Georgia game against Missouri, had they beaten them, and it was very close, obviously, to happen. And the season takes on a whole different tone. And I know if you're a Gator fan, you're sitting there and you're 0-2 in the SEC, but I'm like, okay, well, look at the East. Kentucky can beat Georgia. Kentucky can beat anybody. Tennessee can beat anybody. Florida, we don't know yet. That's why this game is so key for them this week. They win this game. Suddenly they're 1-2. Everybody, I'm not sitting here saying they're going to make a run to win the East, but they got it. They get this win. It's a solid win, and then watch everybody else beat up on each other. And let's see where it goes. And suddenly Georgia looks beatable in Jacksonville, right? The Gators are starting to play, and they're going to get better every week as they learn the Napier system. So, I mean, if you're a Gator fan right now, I'm going to say the whole season boils down to this week, but this is such a huge game for them. Am I overcharacterizing the importance of this game?
No, it is big. I think these next 2 games are huge, but I think they're going to largely determine how Billy Napier's first season goes at Florida, because, right now you get this win, you get your first SEC win, then LSU comes to town, which is another winnable game at
Very
home. You
beatable.
beat LSU. It's always a huge lift for the Gators. That's one of their top rivals. And then you go over to Georgia and see what happens. And it's a huge 2-week swing here. There's no other way to characterize it. And it starts Saturday against Missouri. And as we spoke about earlier, I mean, this is one of those games that has just always it's tripped up the Gators a lot. So if they can go out there and win and just feel good about what takes place, I mean, I think that will have an impact in a positive way for them. You lose, you're suddenly 0-3 in the SEC. I mean, these guys have lost 6 in a row in the league. That's which is kind of difficult to fathom, you know. So,
I had not realized that 6 in a row now.
Well, you go back to this year, then of course, you know, you're talking about. Wait, did I get that right? I mean, I know they've lost 7 to 9 overall. I think it's 6 in a row. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like,
I mean, they went 2-6 in the league last year, JP. So doesn't happen very often at Florida. That's a large reason why Dan Mullen's no longer here. I mean, you just don't. I mean, they're 0-2 now for the first time since '86 in the league. So we're seeing and that's nothing really indicative of what they're doing right now. It's just where the program was when Billy Napier got here. And you knew those 2 games against Tennessee and Kentucky were going to be tough games for Florida with their roster right now. And obviously they both were. I mean, they both took an L, and it's important for them to get that first conference win now.
So what can you explain this whole, Coach Drinkwitz, Darth Vader, Dan Mullen, like what is there any residue of this left? What the hell was that all about?
Well, that goes back to that 2020 COVID game. If you guys, it was in the swamp right before halftime. Mullen got fired up because he thought there was a late hit. And I'm sitting out there in the press box, and suddenly you see Mullen and Drinkwitz, really yelling and having to be restrained against each other. It was a Halloween night also. And then the players got into it, and Mullen kind of lost his cool there. He's getting the crowd into it. And it kind of turned into an ugly scene. They come out. It was calm in the second half, but after the game, Mullen comes out for his post-game press conference in a Darth Vader uniform. That's Dan's personality. He was trying to have a little fun. His son was Darth Vader that year for Halloween. He dressed up too. But it became a thing. So last year, Missouri beats the Gators out there in overtime, and Drinkwitz comes out, I think, with one of those swords or something.
Lightsaber. It's a lightsaber, Scott. For God, it's not a sword.
That's right. Dude. I was never a big Star Wars guy. So
clearly, even I know that.
A lot of your people are cursing me right now. But anyway, that was that. And I think that's kind of past. There's really not been a story this week. Napier talked last night that him and Drinkwitz know each other from, Appalachian State, Louisiana matchups. Okay. So they seem to have a little better relationship than Mullen and Drinkwitz.
I was hoping for a lightsaber or Darth Vader sighting this week, so I guess we're not going to get that. All right, tell everybody what they can get on FloridaGators.com and all your content, podcasts, all that stuff.
Yeah, next couple of days going to be busy. Writing about Jaden Hill, a guy who came back last week, a defensive back. Big addition for the Gators. And really just this game and this stretch that we just talked about. I mean, it is a big game. There's no way around it. So I'm going to be curious to see how the Gators respond, how Anthony plays, and really if the defense kind of shows some improvement. So it's all going to be on FloridaGators.com or Gators Scott on Twitter, guys.
There you go. Scott, appreciate your time as always. Enjoy the game this week. It's homecoming. So the party will be on for sure. Noon game for homecoming. Come on. Let's get at least 3:30. Give them some time.
Glad if you guys get a chance, next week's the one to be at. Tom Petty night at the Swamp. That's going to be rocking that night. His family's going to be here. It's going to be a cool event. So
Tom Petty night at the Swamp for LSU.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's going to be fun. Yeah. All right, partner. Great stuff. We'll talk about that next week and hopefully off a Gator win. Appreciate your time as always.
All right, see you, fellas.
All right. James is taking me to task here. What is he saying here? JP, just because USF regresses after an almost win doesn't mean Mizzou will. They have a real coach that can parlay a great effort. Well, that was more a toast on Jeff Scott than me, but
no, it's a dunk on you.
Yeah. No, sorry, USF's not the only one to do that. You see it all the time around college football, especially. FSU has a big win, and then they take on Wake Forest, and they start reading their press clippings, and you just go out and throw a crap effort against Wake Forest. Not crap effort.
I'll give you a team
certainly not their best.
I'll give you a team that didn't throw a crap effort out there in their last outing.
Who's that?
The UCF Knights of Orlando.
I watched that game last night.
That defense, man.
That defense is good. You know what? Rise Plumlee, that kid can run. I didn't realize how good of a runner he is.
Oh yeah, that's his calling card. He's a runner.
I didn't realize he was that good a runner.
Oh yeah, he's explosive.
Damn,
he's explosive in space.
Yeah, and he can throw the football a little bit. The receivers would do well to catch a lot of those passes, but
well, that's I don't know if you caught the Javon Baker kid.
Yeah,
he was at Alabama.
Yeah.
So just a log jam of guys there, and he comes to UCF, and he looks like one of the best receivers in the American. But
very impressed with UCF last night. They got down early, and just their defense kind of took over, and then you never really thought that SMU was getting back in the game.
No, their defense, UCF.
Bounce house was a little light last night.
Well, it was expected.
Yeah,
it's expected on a Wednesday with the
a lot
hurricane.
of kids with school and everything. Yeah, they had classes.
It was a little light.
Yeah,
a little light, but no, the defense. This is the best. I've never seen a UCF defense like this. It's always been the offense. It's the calling card.
Yeah,
UCF's defense, believe it or not, is in the top 10. They're ranked number 8 in the nation.
It's a good defense.
Number 8 in the nation at UCF.
Yeah.
I said yesterday, I'm like, if they just average 25 to 30, which isn't great, but because they're struggling kind of offensively for the most part this year, they could win the conference. Honestly,
well, I was impressed with their corners. Their corners are big and physical. And there was some BS calls last night in the PI.
Yes,
game
there
as
was.
Well.
Very light.
I will say that as well. Yeah, I like they're aggressive. They play a lot of man. They got big corners.
Yeah, it's because the transfer portal is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it can be.
And the transfer portal is a wonderful thing when it wants to be.
Yeah.
And Gus Malzahn,
pick the right ones.
He clearly has some SEC pull. There's some SEC players all over that defense and that offense all of a sudden. And I think that's the difference. So
the Gus bus is churning.
The Gus bus is churning. The USF bus is not churning.
Yeah.
Turning to another L this week.
So I think midway, this is going to be a big week. Florida State's, we could be looking at 3 L's in a row for Florida State. If they play, they're beat up now on the offensive line, and we'll talk to Pat Burnham tomorrow, but they're beat up on the offensive line right now. A lot of foolish penalties last week. They're not good. They regressed tremendously. And I don't want, but I also want to give Wake Forest credit. Wake Forest is a senior-laden team. They're extremely well coached. They execute to perfection. They're really good. I mean, they should have beat Clemson. Clemson's what, 4th in the nation?
I think you're better than that.
Yeah. And so Wake Forest is a damn good football team. But people want to, you lost to Wake Forest. Okay, well, Gator fans.
You go deal with Wake Forest.
Yeah, you go deal with that slow mesh. Those. By the way, can they? I don't even know if there was one holding call on Wake Forest. I don't want to be that. But those dudes, they run that mesh. They are just grabbing people like it's freaking wrestling. Like, I'm like, what? Like, throw it. It's funny too, because when you're sitting that close where we were, you can see the holding. Yeah. Like, it's so, and everybody is like, call the freaking holding. It was so blatant, but they don't really. They do that mesh thing, and they just, for some reason, they're allowed to do it. Whatever.
They haven't really matched up well with NC State. That's been like a matchup nightmare for them,
especially at NC State.
For the last few years.
Never plays well at NC State.
I almost feel like it sounds so weird to say. I feel like they got a better shot against Clemson. In a weird way, I feel like I got a better shot against Clemson
at home
than you against NC State. No, I don't even care where the game's played. Like I say that knowing that Clemson really just kind of stifled NC State.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel like I think the way you match up against teams is a little different. And I think you saw that last year. I mean, Florida State should have beat Clemson last year. And NC State game really wasn't a game for a majority of it. Same thing with the Wake Forest game. I think there's just some teams that you might match up against better, even though they're better teams. I think you're going to see that in the Clemson game, but you got to get there first. It'd be nice for them to get a win because if you lose 3 in a row after the 4-0 start, it's like it leaves a sour.
At this point with their injury situation, I think that's likely.
Yeah.
If they get one of these, they win 1 out of the 3, I'll be thrilled.
Yeah.
I'll be thrilled. Clearly, Wake Forest has gone by.
Yeah.
If they win 1 out of the next 2, and they're sitting at 5-3 for the and all really winnable games the rest of the way, you'll be thrilled. As an FSU fan.
Their depth's just being tested. I mean, Corey Long brought up a great point yesterday. It's like they've done enough to address the ones, and now they have guys at the ones. But when you get to the twos,
when you lose a Lovett and a Verse on defense, everything changes. Everything changes. Yeah. And when you lose 2 starting tackles, they're down three or four starting linemen from the beginning, offensive linemen. They had a good offensive line to begin the season, and now that's in tatters. So it's like, you're starting to play the big boys. Yes, you are, but you're also starting to get injured in key spots, and you just don't have the depth to withstand it. So we'll see. You go out there and play the games. It's what time is it? It's an 8:00 start on the ACC network for FSU. Saturday night.
That game's on the ACC network?
Yeah.
You're joking.
No.
You're actually joking with me.
No, I think that's, if I read that correctly and I'm remembering correctly. Yeah.
Hold on 1 sec. No way.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some big games this weekend.
The ACC network for Florida State and NC State?
I think so. Double check that, but yeah. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Sandra Golden's going to join us from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, and we'll chat with her about this Falcons team and get a kind of a behind-the-scenes, right? Am I right?
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, right? We'll get a behind-the-scenes look at this surprising Falcons team at 2-2. Not far away from being 4-0, but they've got some injury issues to deal with, so we'll catch up with Sandra Golden next. We'll talk some Braves as well as we look forward to the Braves-Rays World Series. Braves might get there. Stay with us.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness? Like many clinics use, they will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or italianoinsurance.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES, lawgroup.com. It just brought you the Gator Report. Scott Jeeves and his team of attorneys over there will take your case and make you some money. So go to jeeveslawgroup.com, contact them, and tell them JP sent you. Also by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. We talked to Chris Lugo last week about a little bit about testosterone replacement therapy. We're going to get into that more next week on his next appearance as 10% a decade. So 1% a year testosterone levels going down in American men. That's not good. So check your levels. Check your sheet, as Jameis would say, and get in there to see Chris Lugo at BAMMC.com. All right, we want to welcome in our good friend from 92.9 The Game, the lovable and wonderful Sandra Golden, who joins us here, the legend in Atlanta that she is. And isn't it a crisis, Sandra, that men are losing testosterone at a rapid pace? I mean, the American man is just turned into such a wussy. I mean, we could go on and on about this, but, you know.
I hear it on all the stations. Listen, I feel your pain right there with you.
Yeah, sports radio is the home for testosterone replacement clinics, right?
But listen, there seems to be plenty of it in my building here, so there's plenty of it floating around.
Because every getting the tea over there because we got all these advertisers. That's the beautiful thing, right?
True.
I mean, we've all bought in cars and new homes with testosterone replacement advertising, so it's a wonderful thing. All right, so let's dig into this matchup with the Falcons. First of all, how are you? I got to say hello. How are you? Things good?
I was gonna write back at you. I am happy and great, and thank you. And I miss you, and I'm so glad you're online. And I watch and listen often. So congrats to you and the success of your show. You're
Thank
just
you very much.
one of the best in the world. Folks that don't know this, JP gave me my first job. I was his intern, and
That's
really
right.
taught me the ropes, and then opened doors for me. So I'll never, ever, ever forget that.
Well, much appreciated. But your talent and your work ethic has brought you to an incredible career, and still on in Atlanta. And how's the new gig going with Steak? And
It's so great because it's on a Mac Daddy station,
I know.
that you can actually hear, which is an interesting concept. And it's really good. And listen, to be asked back after all this time, this old lady, I'm like,
come
okay,
on,
let's
man.
go time.
You're
So I'm
a
thrilled.
legend. Yeah.
And the Braves and the Falcons in Georgia. I mean, it's not a bad time to be a sports fan in this neck of the woods, as you know.
It's turned around a little bit for you folks in Atlanta. It was a lot of dry years. And then suddenly you get the World Series championship. I mean, how about that whole Braves thing that you got going in the Battery and the new stadium? Is it fair to say that that new stadium brought you the World Series? Is that fair to say that it was a huge
It's not
piece?
only fair to say, it might bring us a second one.
Yeah.
But we had Buster Olney on the other day, and I'm too close to it because it's right here and I go all the time, and I'm overwhelmed by how awesome it is. But when you have a Buster Olney who's been to all 30 stadiums, when he says, I'm predicting Braves to win, and it'll be on home field advantage.
Wow.
So, not that we don't have the talent, but the acts are not on stage, those of you who haven't seen it.
Yeah.
The whole Battery, there's this massive, kind of like the green, almost like you're watching a concert where they put the game on. And there's another 10,000, 15,000 outside just raising hell. So it's really something. And to hear the guys in the opposite clubhouse, JP, say it's tough to play here.
Yeah.
The Mets were like, we got rocked. This crowd was really something.
Man, to have an atmosphere like that in Tampa Bay, and we have all the ingredients to do it in downtown Ybor City.
It makes no sense. And I don't want to get you started because I know how passionate and upset you get. It makes no sense. And I wish to goodness that Major League Baseball will step in. I was also watching Oakland yesterday and the Marlins. Why doesn't Major League Baseball step in and say, we're going to take your franchise unless you get your ass in gear?
Yeah. And it's so, well, you can talk about it because you're living it there. And people may not think it's a big deal, but if you can kind of paint the picture, moving from South Atlanta, where it was so hard for the fan base that lives in the northern part, the people that go out and go to Braves games, moving it to where their fan base has made all the difference in the world, and surrounding it with the entertainment district. I mean, that's the exact template we could do here in Tampa. And people say, well, people still won't go. That's not that much of a difference from St. Pete to Tampa. I'm like, look at Atlanta. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's worked out pretty well, right?
It's such a big difference, JP, and your almighty dollar, all over Tampa, you have choices.
Yeah.
And to make a choice to go to that ballpark, well, it's proving it. They're not getting their money.
Right.
I'm not going to go out on a limb. And you remember Fulton County Stadium, you guys, and then Turner Field even. It wasn't in the nicest area. So literally you would have to go to your car, put on a bulletproof vest, run into the stadium. So there was no atmosphere. So now, and I think I've told you this before, it's weekly that not only baseball teams, football teams, and listen to this, college football, look what they're doing at Northwestern, JP.
Yeah.
College football is getting on board with this, wait a minute, entertainment district for a college football game because it's all about money. Like the Braves own the Battery.
Right.
Like, why aren't more folks doing? Can you imagine in Tallahassee where they tear down some of the seats? So that's your consolation.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah. And they put in the college town across from Doak Campbell Stadium, which is packed. Yeah. It's amazing. It's so available for us here in Tampa. And we just have an owner who just, wants to make money on redevelopment and all play this stupid game. It's all about the money to him. He doesn't care about the fans. And the worst part about it is, and I try to bring this out, how it affects the team. And this is what you're saying is so important, that home field advantage. Imagine if we had that home field advantage for this baseball team, the Rays I'm talking about, that you've developed for the Braves. And it makes a difference where our owner is pricing our own fans out of his own stadium and doesn't care if there's more Yankees, Orioles, Cardinal fans than Rays fans. It's a slap in the face to the players. And it's not fair.
And I mean, it goes back to when we have sellout after sellout, and it's 40,000 in the seats. And I believe Turner Field was closer to 59.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. You sacrifice. It's now a sellout. So they're able to go and likely sign Dansby Swanson.
Right.
And go, you're able to pay the players directly from the turnstile at that ballpark. And it shows, and Alex Anthopoulos, our GM, who I believe is the greatest in this game, and what he can do and just how he treats people, JP.
Yeah.
He's really special. If you ever get a chance to talk to him, I think you guys would love him.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he said to the fans yesterday, he said, you will see the reason we have, and we will be able to contend for a Jacob deGrom, or we're going to sign Dansby, is because the fans are turning out. So
that's right.
It's everybody's all in. It's really cool.
But the other part of that is they've done their part. They did their part of building the new stadium, moving it to where the fans are, making it nice for the fans with a nice new stadium in an accessible location for them. So they've catered to the fans. They've invested in the fans. Yeah. They've given the fans everything they want, and the fans have reciprocated. I'm here to say that the same thing would happen in Tampa Bay if they did that. But he wants to not spend money and point the finger at the fans and say, I'm not going to do it because you've never supported me. Well, you've never invested in your product. You've never done it the right way. So why would they invest with you? So
it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just, and listen, and I'll stop, but you can go a 5 mile, 10 mile, 20 mile parameter outside the ballpark, and JP, and look where the housing income and the median money that people are making, the jobs that are coming, the corporations, everything has gone up in value as a result of that ballpark.
Yeah. Now, it's been a huge win-win, no matter what you read in the Atlanta Journal and Constipation. All right,
bless their heart.
All right, let's talk about this game with the Falcons. It's surprising Falcons, who are 2-2, a few points, 5 points away from being 4-0. What the hell's going on with this team? I mean, are you shocked at how good they are and competitive?
Absolutely shocked. And after the first couple of games where, you're 0-2 and I'm screaming for Desmond Ridder and Marcus Mariota, but the big hit that you guys are going to get to take advantage of is that Cordero Patterson's now on the shelf for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
He had a surgery on his knee, literally Monday. That's how bad it was bothering him. So now and Arthur Smith likes to run the ball. He comes from the Titans where Derrick Henry, pound and ground. Let's go. So, this is going to be interesting. The overachieving part of this has been the offense in spite of Marcus Mariota. And you can look at the turnovers. It doesn't really tell the tale because JP, he doesn't respect the football. Yeah. He's fumbled that thing 6 times, lost 3 of them, and thrown 4 interceptions. So you're 2-2 in spite of that.
Wow. So is this defense that good? DP's defense, they've got some pieces now. Obviously, we know Grady Jackson. But they brought in Rashawn Evans, Lorenzo Carter. Brock player, Case Ward, Mike Ford. These guys are playing some good football. How is the defense just adequate or what?
It's been kind of the unsung heroes, D. Alford, who is playing Canadian football. I am not so sold on this defense yet. Like you said, it's kind of the Grady Jackson show.
Right.
And if you can game plan against him and then Lorenzo Carter, pressure is not their thing. I'm just afraid that Brady's fortunate another 50.
Yeah.
And that's not that's not been great. The defense has not been great. And that's the concern where Tom Brady. How is Sweet Tom these days? How is he?
He's available, hon. If you're interested in a 45-year-old.
Listen, one of my co-hosts, Rusty Mansell, had the greatest line yesterday, who said the greatest job right now is to be Tom Brady's wingman.
Oh my God, yes. Well, and that's Gronk's job. And where the hell is he? He's leaving his man hung out to dry, right? Yeah. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Going through a divorce. He's got no tight end. And here's Gronk, throwing keggers on Tuesday night in Vegas. And it's like, help your boy out a little bit. Give him a little something for the effort. He kind of made your career. So
that is so funny.
So we're still waiting for
the run, and I think you're going to be. Meanwhile, Kyle Pitts. That's the other thing, JP. Kyle Pitts was held out of practice yesterday. He's got a hamstring issue. He was only targeted, I think, this past game 3 times.
Yeah.
And we Atlanta fans are like, dude, if you're going to go draft the unicorn that is Kyle Pitts, why is he only getting 3 and 4 targets? Like, you better run that offense through him. What are you doing?
Right. Like, why not? Why do you not run 5 tight end screens a game and get him the ball?
I have
on script.
If you can figure it out, and you got Drake London, like, what are you doing? Well, it might be the Mariota factor. It just might be. Like, don't ask him to do too much. And the fact that he's able to run. And how about poor Matt Ryan this year? I'm the biggest Matt Ryan fan ever, but he's got a better offensive line and still, that kind of stoic, can't run the ball quarterback. It's not working.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought the Colts were going to be much better this year.
Me too.
Hey, so is there any chance we see Desmond Ridder after Mariota completed 8 passes last week?
Listen, it's ridiculous, but the answer keeps being no. And my question, JP, I was like, okay, I'm not going to see the season when we go into at that point. Okay,
right.
I was thinking, like, what is the end game here? You don't want to say we're in a rebuild. Okay, but what's your end game?
Right.
You draft this guy. I mean, you're lucky you got him in the 3rd round. So don't you want to see what he's about?
Sure.
And apparently they are working him hard in practice, but I don't know whether that means he's not good enough or that they're in games. So the answer is no. And boy, Arthur Smith gets in a real hissy fit if you ask him about Desmond Ridder. He literally was like, we just won a game and you're asking me about, Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, because your quarterback completed 8 passes, for God's sakes. I mean, come on. Well, I mean, if you're working him in practice, is he getting like first team reps type of stuff in practice?
That's what I'm thinking too. And, behind the scenes, that's what we keep hearing, that they are giving him stuff at practice and they're seeing what he's about. Now, what does that mean? All I know is I saw him in preseason. He looked pretty darn good. Like, see what he's about.
Yeah. I mean, right now, if your quarterback's giving the ball away and he's not,
oh my God.
I mean, what do you got to lose, for God's sakes?
Yeah.
I mean,
the 2 losses, well, you can't give one player the blame. Marcus Mariota was responsible. And JP, he's fumbling and throwing picks in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Well, I think the Bucs are catching the Falcons at a good time for them.
Yeah,
coming off this Chiefs game where they were embarrassed against the Chiefs, and they were clowned at times. So I expect this to be the Bucs' best effort, and I think Atlanta's going to have a rough week. But hey, at least you got the Braves. So you guys are sitting around waiting for the winner of what?
St. Louis and Philly, and then I'm hitting the road. They're sending us to go on the road. I'm so excited. So the Mets or the Padres have to go to LA. Good luck, everybody.
Oh yeah. Oh, so there you go.
But you know what? Dodgers, that pitching staff, they're going to play patchwork ball there. So don't pencil them in so quick, because the Braves are right there. And listen, the Mets are what they are. They also pushed Max Scherzer back. Did you see that? Excuse me.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. That's interesting. So I like
me. I think the same thing.
The Braves are so red hot too. The Braves are so red hot now. I mean, they're playing 700 ball over the last 2 months.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane what's happening. And listen, and then you know how baseball is: get hot at the right time.
Yeah.
Or make a few errors and you're out. So I do love the wild card. Don't you love the wild card format?
Oh yeah, the Rays get to go to Cleveland. My partner here is really excited. Nick is really excited about the Rays team, and I couldn't give a rat's ass. I mean, we've lost 5 in a row. We've scored 1 run or fewer in, I think, 10 of our last 12 games. I mean, we are steamrolling into the playoffs like Thomas the Tank Engine. I mean, it's like
you got to support our Seminoles. Come on.
That's awful. Come on, the Braves are awful right now. They're terrible. But if we could get a Braves-Rays World Series.
Oh my God, how much fun would that be?
Oh my God, I would definitely be up there. Road trip into Atlanta. We could see, and people would get a real taste of what having a real stadium's all about. Nick, you're all about it, right? Aren't you? Talk to Sandra about your Rays team.
You're negative Nancy today. I mean, we and the worst part is like we talked about it all week that you're going to get into it this week, the playoffs. And then today it's like we have notes for the show to preview the game, and all he does is take a shit on everything.
Yeah,
that goes on with the team.
Come on, JP. We are pulling for the Rays for sure. Although Buster only real high on the Guardians. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think we're out in 2. I mean, we
I hope not. I want them to win too, just because of Kevin.
I know we love Cash. We love the team. We love the players, but they're so god awful boring right now. I mean, the push to the playoffs was just. I mean, we lost 10 of our last 12. I think. I mean, it's just we were tanking. We're tanking for Tito so we could play against Cash's best friend. It's been awful. So I'm going to try to overnight try to get into the. But I mean, and we're playing at noon on Friday. We had a big watch party.
Oh, it's the worst.
Oh God! And then noon on Saturday, a college football Saturday in October, and I'm supposed to watch the Guardians and the Rays at freaking noon instead of LSU Tennessee. No freaking way! I'm not doing it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm going to do it. I'm not. Sorry.
Right. All right. One last question.
Yes.
I have the Bucs favored by 9 on Bovada. I think that number's high.
Yeah, it would normally be a high for a divisional game, but given the injuries to the Falcons and the Bucs coming off the horrible embarrassment and the fact the Falcons aren't great at rushing the quarterback.
And remember, Tom Brady hasn't lost 3 in a row since I was born.
And he's got all his receivers this week, so I think it's 9 for a reason. I would normally not lay 9 in a divisional game, but this week I might.
Okay, I'm going to listen to you. Meanwhile, Tommy's got that divorce diet going. He looks awfully thin. I've been there.
It's the divorce diet. Yes,
it's the best weight loss plan of all time.
I'm 1 divorce away from my ideal weight, isn't it?
Exactly right. You guys are the best. JP, thank you, honey. Love you guys. And I appreciate it so much. Y'all having me on.
Sandra Golden at 92.9 The Game. Check her out on their app. Download their app and listen to them every morning 10 to 12. I think they're on. No, 9 to 11. 9 to 11. All right. We'll what do we got? 51. We got a few more minutes left here.
Yeah, we're good.
We're not going to talk about the Rays anymore. I'm just
darn.
Unless you got anything else to get me excited about, I'm out. I'm
not gonna lie to you. My win was a little taken out of myself because I really wanted to go to that watch party tomorrow.
Are you not going to go now because it's at noon? But it's going to be hard. Seriously, it's going to be hard to watch the game on that screen.
That's what I'm saying. And then it's like, we need to establish this first of all. Are we doing the show tomorrow 9 to 11?
Well, the only thing I say is the people that tune in at 10 would normally tune in at 10. They're still going to get a live show, so that's fine. So if you feel like it's going to be a better opportunity for you to now wait a minute, we may have some guests. Normally we do. Well, I get Pat to go in the 10 o'clock hour. So yeah, we can do that. So you guys, just so you know, 9 to 11 tomorrow. So
look at that. I have had pull now.
So Nick, can you be able to get here early tomorrow? You sure? Okay. You going to be here by 9 or will I be waiting?
We'll be there.
Okay.
We'll be there.
All right. So yeah, we'll go 9 to 11 live tomorrow. And of course you can always listen to us, at 10 o'clock and re-rack the show at 11 to get both hours. So we're going to do 2 hours tomorrow. We'll start at 9, go 9 to 11. That's what's great about, being this live stream. We can change things whenever we need to do it.
We can be as flexible as we need to whenever there's events like this. Cause the last thing I want to be is driving during the first 4 innings of the game back home.
I got you.
To watch the game.
So we'll be 9 to 11 tomorrow and, everybody will be happy. All right. We got some football tonight as, we're going to see, I'm interested to see the Colts play. I really, the Broncos we've seen a little bit. I've not seen the Colts play. I'm interested to see what the hell's going on with Matt Ryan. Now Jonathan Taylor's not going to play. So my new pickup on the waiver wire what the hell's his name? Deion Johnson.
I didn't know his name. Deion Jackson.
Deion Jackson. Yeah, everybody told me how great this cat is, and now he's going to get some touches. Although Hines might be the number one RB1, but this guy's supposed to be a very explosive runner. 220 pounds. He's had some, he's done really well with his touches. So we'll see. Well, maybe I'll throw him in my fantasy lineup and have a little bit of something. You might as well,
because I did such a bad job
your
of drafting for you.
You drafted just an awful team.
I've set you up for failure.
You really have.
I really have.
Awful.
You might as well just dock my pay or something because I did that. Just blame everything on me.
We can chat about real quick here is the best game of the weekend, and that's Alabama, Texas A&M.
Is it?
Jimbo, all of a sudden, Jimbo Fisher, people are seeing maybe he's not the greatest coach ever. They've recruited the number one recruiting class the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Been in the top 5 every year since he's been there.
Yes.
And they're not so good. They're not so good. Jimbo Fisher's not this unbelievable coach that a lot of people think he is.
I think he's a fraud.
He is a fraud.
I don't know if that's too strong of a term, but I think he's a fraud.
Without Jameis, his record at FSU was almost 500. I think it was 2 games over 500 without Jameis. And that's with loaded teams. And that team he won the national championship with, all 22 starters
or in the NFL
were either drafted or were in camps in the NFL. A multitude, I'd probably say, I'd have to go back and look, but 10 to 12 of them have had really significant careers in the NFL. One, Jalen Ramsey might be a Hall of Famer. We could go back through that whole roster.
He whiffed on quarterbacks outside of Jameis Winston in his time at FSU. I don't think he
got him drafted.
He didn't recruit.
Got EJ Manuel drafted. Got Christian Ponder drafted in the first.
But
round.
I'm saying, did he recruit Ponder and Manuel, or those were the last Bowden's?
Yeah,
right?
Those were Bowden's guys.
Those were the last Bowden guy. His first one was Jameis.
Yeah.
Hit. Whiff on Malik Henry, the whiff of ages. There.
Yeah.
Whiff on Francois. He whiff on Blackman, Sean McGuire.
Well, and then
JT
the way he quit, he literally quits
the
on
way
his
he
team
quit
in
on the
September. And so he had his deal done in September with A&M.
Yeah.
And he literally took his own coaches off the recruiting trail. I mean, you literally sacrifice while you're collecting your money, by the way, you're collecting your money from Florida State, you're not even drawing up game plans and you're not even recruiting in September. I mean, that's just that is when I found that out, I was like, dude, I don't care. I understand that FSU wasn't giving you the things that you needed.
The ESPN article uncovered a lot of what was wrong with this program.
Yeah.
And hopefully some of that is starting to make its exit out of the program now. But, I just think in general, bringing it back to current times, I think his offense is it's dated.
Yeah.
It's very like it worked in 2013, and when you had a quarterback that could do it. And Jameis, for as much flack as people give Jameis, he's one of the smarter quarterbacks that's ever come through the college ranks. He has football IQ. That's not the problem. And it's hard to pick up Jimbo's offense. I think it's a really hard offense. It takes a certain quarterback, and he has been able to find that.
And the way he treats his quarterbacks.
And the way he treats it.
The way he treats his quarterbacks on the sideline is reprehensible.
Yeah, and
Jameis was strong enough mentally to handle it and would give it back to him. But most of these young kids are just like, oh, it's hard.
In this game, you said game of the week. This is probably going to be a snooze fest, if I'm being honest with you. This game has lost so much of its luster because
just replay all the sound bites from which we will.
They don't even hate each other anymore. It's like Jimbo wouldn't even answer the damn questions the other day in the press conference. Saban ain't going to answer it, obviously.
Oh, because they've been told by their
daddy
told
to calm down a little bit,
to shut up. Otherwise people will realize what's going on.
Yeah, that game was supposed to think about how far this game fell. When you look at the schedule, you said, okay, College Game Day is going to be there in week 6. It's in Lawrence, Kansas this week.
Yeah.
That's how far this game has fallen.
After going to Boone earlier which I kind of like the new places.
I like it. I will say I like it.
I like the new
And the fact that they're going to App State and they're going to Kansas and we're only 6 weeks in shows you the parity in college football.
Yeah, there's a lot of parity.
It's a good example.
Like you could look at the top 25 right now and you could say, Tennessee's at number 8. Could they get in the playoff? Yeah. They could.
If you beat Georgia, you're going in.
And where is that game? Tennessee or Georgia? I don't know. Let me see if I can find out. And Tennessee's got LSU this week at LSU. So that's a not so fast, my friend. They got Bama. Tennessee Bama's coming up.
That's going to be a really good
next Saturday
at Georgia, by the way.
At Bama.
Oh, they got to play at Georgia and at Bama.
Okay.
Tennessee.
So they're not going to playoff. Check that. So yeah, that's too tough. That's too tough a road to hoe right there. But Tennessee's obviously making a comeback. And so that's a good one. Tennessee, LSU this weekend. Texas, Oklahoma is a nooner.
Yeah.
ABC, but Oklahoma's
Texas is going to.
How about Oklahoma just absolutely tanking it? And how about USC? Maybe there's a little something to this Lincoln Riley thing.
I mean,
they're the shocker of the year.
He took everything away from Oklahoma. I mean,
that's bad. Imagine if you're at Oklahoma. Not only do you lose your coach, but he takes all the players with him. That's some BS.
They're making the playoff. USC.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win the Pac-12. They're playing enough defense to get by.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley's gotten in the playoff, 3 times with awful defenses?
Michigan and Indiana. Watch out.
Watch out.
Watch
For
out.
what?
Tom Allen. It was just watch out.
They lost by 20 to Cincinnati.
I know. Arkansas, Mississippi State. Mike Leach will give some more information on weddings that you should heed. What other good games we got this week? TCU and Kansas. Woo! That's a nooner at David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium. Tennessee LSU is also a nooner. It's good. There's good games in the noon window.
Yeah.
And Rays Guardians ain't one of them. South Florida at Cincinnati at 2:30. Yikes! That could get ugly. Texas Tech at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State number 7.
Yeah, they're
playing some D there.
Class of the Big 12 right now. That's an interesting game in the Pac-12.
Utah and UCLA.
If
undefeated at the Rose Bowl.
If UCLA wins that game, then could we see USC and UCLA battling it out to make the playoff for the Pac-12?
Wow, the old days.
Like the old days before they blitzed to the Big Ten?
Yeah, East Carolina, Tulane. Interesting there for your AAC enjoyment. North Carolina is at Miami at 4:00. That's ESPN2.
Sounds like another loss for Miami.
Yeah. Wow. What about Miami? How about that? Ohio State at Michigan State, 4:00 at Spartan Stadium. Number 3 Ohio State. I haven't really seen much of Ohio State. I'm going to watch them this week.
A lot of people think that they're the number 1 team in the nation.
Yeah. Ole Miss is up to number 9. Lane Kiffin's got Ole Miss up there 9. They're going to Vanderbilt this weekend. To other interesting games. South Carolina's at number 13. Kentucky. Kansas State, Scott Reynolds, Kansas State with their big win. Going to Iowa State. Never easy to play there against Rocco Becht and the boys at Iowa State.
Yep.
Clemson is at Boston College, and they should just destroy
I don't know why that
them.
game is on ABC, but whatever.
Yeah. But that's FSU.
That should have been FSU NC State, but anyway.
BYU is at Notre Dame. That's a 7:30 game. Army at Wake Forest. Alabama A&M. That's an 8:00 game on CBS. An 8:00 game for CBS, huh? That's interesting.
That's a little bit different one.
Yeah. FSU NC State also at 8:00. And
my big upset of the week.
What do you got?
I got Arizona taking down Oregon this week.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's your get right late night game if you've lost all your money.
Yeah, I probably won't be watching a single lick of that game because we don't do Pac-12 after dark in this household. But
we don't?
No, I don't.
Not on Saturday.
It ain't happening, no.
Okay. All right, that'll do it for us here at the JP Peterson Show. We will check in with you tomorrow. I will be wearing my Rays jersey, and I will do everything humanly possible to get excited about this. I'll even call Rich Hollenberg and see if he'll come on the show. I'm even going to invite Dickie Vitale on the show. See if we can get Dickie V to come on and pep me up.
Sorry, I could not do that for you.
No,
today.
you failed miserably.
Yep.
All right, thank you all for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. See you then. Go Rays.